Hi, I'm Mayor Jay Tipsher, and welcome to this edition of Chandler Inside and Out. Today, it's my pleasure to have in studio two people from our police department, and I'm looking very much forward to interviewing them. We have Officer Tina Balsowitz. Thank you, Officer, for being here. And April Long Blanchard, Police Planning and Research Analyst, a civilian employee in our police department.
That's correct, yes.
So yeah, thank both of you for being here. And I thought maybe I would start out with maybe getting a little bit of your backgrounds for our listening and watching audience. So maybe, Officer, we'll start with you.
I came into law enforcement by a bad childhood experience that I had a police officer respond to, ultimately changed my life. And at that point, I identified that I wanted to emulate him and hopefully be able to help others and give them a positive experience and feedback.
Yeah, that's great. So it dated back to your childhood.
3rd grade, yes, sir.
Yeah, fantastic. And April, and I'm going to call you both by your first name, April and Tina. It's a lot easier for me. April, what about you? And
mine's a little different. I needed shift work. My family had moved here from out of state, and we had small children at the time, and I didn't want to have to put them in daycare, so I needed something that provided shift work, 24-hour operations. So records was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and just applied, and I got the job.
How long have you been with Chandler?
18 years.
Wow, so you've got some longevity.
Yes.
Tina, how long have you been with the police?
Also 18 years. April and I came on almost the same
Yeah.
time and
Wow.
befriended one another right around that same time as well.
Was this your first job as a sworn officer, or did you come from somewhere else?
I came out of Pennsylvania. I also attended an academy in Pennsylvania, but I was working at a college.
Right.
And so I moved out here to be with my parents, and Chandler
Yeah.
was the only one I actually interviewed. I say that I interviewed multiple agencies, and Chandler was the greatest fit for me.
Yeah. Who was the chief when you got hired?
Bobby Joe Harris, sir.
Bobby Joe?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Did a good job there.
Fabulous.
You guys have seen a lot of progress and a lot of growth in the city, but also your department. Your department is a huge department now, and it probably wasn't quite that way 18, 19 years ago.
Not at all.
Yeah. A little bit later in the show, we're going to talk about a specific incident that occurred in one of our neighborhoods and share that with the audience, because I had read about that. It occurred at the Springs neighborhood, but I had read about some of the police work that occurred there, and it was really, to me, it was really outstanding police work and good work by our citizens. But I think before I get into that, I want to talk about some of your duties, and then we'll talk about some of your duties, but some of your current duties with the Chandler Police Department.
My current duties, I'm currently assigned to the Crime Prevention Unit. Our ultimate goal is just that, crime prevention. We're able to employ that by utilizing multiple programs and resources. One of those programs is crime prevention through environmental design. We also do preventative education, safety education, and just getting out with community outreach programs and things in that order, offering them free resources.
And there seems to be a lot of interest from our citizens in crime prevention, because as you and I were talking before we started taping here, Block Watch falls under crime prevention,
Yes,
among
it does.
other things.
Absolutely. Our crime prevention unit has 3 officers. We are all designated by precinct.
Right.
I currently work out of the main station, so they would
Right.
contact me, and even if they would be able to contact my counterparts as well for their area.
Yeah, that's good. And April, maybe talk a little bit about what you do
Okay.
at the police department.
I work in the Crime Analysis and Research Unit. There's 4 of us. We have a crime analysis supervisor. She is a working supervisor. She oversees crime analysis and the other function in our unit, which is uniform crime reporting. She, like I said, is a working crime analyst as well as oversees, and she's a driving force behind our day-to-day tasks and making sure that we are, working towards the goals of the department. I'm a crime analyst, or a planning and research analyst, with an emphasis on crime analysis. I provide crime statistics, information to everybody in the department that needs it, from the office of the chief all the way down to officer level. We also provide data to the city. We'll get requests from the city. It could be anything from what's going on in a certain area, the revitalization of the downtown area. We've assisted with information on that. And then citizens as well. I'll provide information to citizens. We'll get calls asking for information on specific areas or
Mhm.
specific addresses because they're interested in either moving into the area or buying a home in that area. So we provide that. And we also have two crime analysis data techs, and they are responsible for the UCR reporting.
And when you say UCR, you mean
I'm sorry, uniform crime reporting. They gather data and submit numbers or crimes that are reported to the FBI, Part 1 crimes, and provides crime rates and information regarding what goes on in the city. And then they also support the crime analysis side of things.
you have a fairly small department. You guys are producing a lot of information out to.
We are very busy and we have a lot of fun doing it. It's exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you got 4 in there plus a
4.
supervisor. it
3
sounds.
plus a supervisor,
3 plus.
but she's a working
She's a
analyst.
hands-on.
She does it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's her name? We'll give her a plug.
Candace Hammond.
Candace Hammond. Okay. So you've already talked a little bit about the size of your unit and some of the functions. So planning and research analysis, and they're really kind of sound like 2 different things because you got all the crime statistics, but then the research analysis sounds like, and we'll get into what you did on this particular thing, but you guys are doing a lot of different things.
We are. I like to say we wear many different hats. We'll do some tactical analysis, which is what we did for the burglary series in the Springs area. We do administrative analysis, which is providing data to the administration regarding crimes and if they're up or down or
Right.
Things of that nature. And then strategic analysis, which is long-term analysis.
Right. They're very interesting. I know I go to do listening tours. We do those about 4 times a year throughout the city, but always during the mayor's listening tour, we have either the police chief or one of the assistant chiefs or the actual person that works that particular area get up and talk about crime statistics.
We provide that.
Statistics
We
you're putting
provide that
together.
for them. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, and the citizens really find that very helpful. I mean, just depending on where we are in town, those statistics really vary, really vary.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Tina, discuss some of your outreach you do and some of the department resources you have at your disposal.
I think they're a combination. Some of the outreach that we do some cultural meet and greets throughout the area. We also have a Guardian Academy, which is, it's a class for parents to help them kind of understand what their teenagers are going through and being exposed to. And so we have neighborhood watch programs. We have probably close to 40 or 50 programs that are all free. Self-defense. We offer a 12-hour program for women and children. We have, the Return Me Safe, which is for a vulnerable community. Let it be an adult or a child.
Right.
It's a registry that we hold at the communication center. So if a child were found or a vulnerable adult were found, they would be able to be returned home safely. So we have a series of them, and we're very fortunate to have that.
Are you involved with GAIN at all? I know we've got GAIN. Talk to us a little bit about the
That's
GAIN.
coming up we have our lottery in September, on September 24th, and our GAIN night is actually October 22nd. And that's getting Arizonans involved in their neighborhoods.
Right.
And that is a direct relationship with our C3 program, which is our multifamily housing program, in addition to our neighborhood watch programs. So those folks come in and they kind of spin the lottery, if you will, for getting some law enforcement units out that way. And we kind of call ourselves the free entertainment for them.
Because GAIN is a night in October. I know I've gone a few nights where neighborhoods organize and have events.
Yes, sir.
Police
It's
are
much
very
like
involved.
a block watch, but it allows us to give back to the community and for them to have any questions or answers, of us, or just open conversation, much like our Coffee with a Cop as well.
Those have been really well attended, my experiences, and the neighbors really like those. And then you do the lottery. For those in the audience, you're offering whether they get the SWAT van or the tank or the
Robots, the
or
bounce house, the canines, absolutely.
so that could be a special thing they get in their neighborhoods to maybe help entice the neighbors to come out. But
That
there's
is
a lot of things that go with that.
Yes,
So
sir.
that'll be very interesting. I think, are they going to draw lots or how's that going to work?
Everybody comes in, and so based upon the Neighborhood Excellence Award,
Right.
they'll have the first choicer, and then thereafter that, they literally pick it by lottery. So they'll pick a number, and based upon when the time is that they want to have their event, they will be able to identify what resources are available. What, is it the SWAT team? Is it the robot truck
Right.
that can visit their community during their cookout and block watch?
That lasts pretty much, what are the hours of the,
Goodness, we start at 10 that morning,
yeah,
and then it runs into the evening about 8 o'clock.
right. Looking forward
It's a
to
full
that.
day. Yes, sir.
Yeah, keep up the good work there. So I want to ask you, what are some of the most common things that our residents are doing? They probably don't know they're doing it, obviously, or they wouldn't be doing, that are inviting crime. And I know you and I talked about one thing in particular.
The majority of the burglaries are happening during the daytime, so people feel safe in the daytime because they can see. And so what happens is when they're working on their lawn, they may grab something out of the garage, walk around the corner, go into the back gate to do something. But like you said, that 5 minutes, if there's an individual that just happens to be 5 houses up, they now see your mountain bike or your
Right.
road bike there that's valued at $5,000. Well, $5,000 just went down the road.
Right.
So we encourage people to participate in our bicycle registration. That's another program that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's good because if you leave your garage open, then you got your door into your house that they also can get into. So that, again, that's a big thing.
That's the number one
leaving
thing.
the garage open, and it's a simple thing to remedy. Just close. We want people to close their garages.
We also look at landscaping too, sir. Overgrown landscaping, something that we promote through crime prevention through environmental design is line of sight.
Okay.
Being able to see what's going on around your neighbor's home, not necessarily inside the home, but just around. So we ask that you keep your shrubs down to 2 or 3 feet. Keep your tree canopies up to 6 or 7 feet so that you have that visibility. Keep your shrubs small so that no individual can hide behind them and create an ambush situation. So that's one of the other things that we do. We also provide home security surveys. We'll come out and we'll talk with the resident, and we do this for businesses as well.
So you'll do a home. If a resident calls you, you guys will go out and
Yes, sir.
look at their house and say, here's some suggestions.
We have a computer application for that. We'll give them some photographs and we'll point out what we find to be some of the discrepancies against crime prevention through environmental design. And we'll give some recommendations, typically very inexpensive recommendations,
Right.
and that can help them bolster their security.
Yeah. And maybe what we'll do, we'll get a phone number up on the screen for when we're playing this so that people know what number they can call to get any kind of advice, whether it be to get a home screening or to just ask some general questions of you. But we'll
That'd
get
be
that
great.
posted on the screen so that that'll be available.
That would be great, sir.
So, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reintroduce the show, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit about the situation that occurred in the Springs neighborhood and how, through good police work, it got resolved. I'm Mayor Jay Tipshraney. You're watching Chandler Inside and Out today. I'm interviewing and talking with people from our Chandler Police Department. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Again, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely.
So why don't you set up the background anyway of what was happening in the Springs neighborhood. There was burglaries and other stuff going on, but maybe you can kind of set the stage for what was going on there.
I can. As a crime prevention officer, I receive alerts. We call them frequent patrol alerts. Just so that I know when people are on vacation, is there anything going on in the neighborhood? It's an anonymous way for them to share with us something that may be going on in the neighborhood. Suddenly, within 2 days, I received 7 alerts that there were a series of burglaries occurring in the Springs. I immediately went to April, and the team there were just a couple doors down in the hallway, and I said, hey, are you all aware of this? Yes, we're tracking it. Okay. I knew at that point I needed to take action. They were already doing their business. I verified that they did not have a neighborhood watch within 2 square miles. None. And so at that point, all I had left was the HOA. So I contacted the HOA president and had discussion with some of the concerns. And while I'm talking to him and we're playing phone tag, there's a series of more frequent patrols coming in relating to this series of burglaries. And so I said, look, we really need to do something. We need to take action now. And he agreed. And so he reached the community, and within 36 hours, we had a community meeting at the police department, and we had well over 60 residents and members of that immediate community arrive.
They were
For
concerned.
an information. Yes, sir, they were.
Yeah.
And what was beautiful from my part from that is we were able to create 15 neighborhood watches in a half a square mile.
Really?
Yes, sir.
15 separate
15.
new neighborhood watches formed.
I call them separate because they typically consist of anywhere from 20 to 40 homes along a street. However, they are very organized. Their HOA is very much involved. And so it's been a success story. And with that, they were able to provide us some information, which then led to working with April, our bike team, our patrol officers, our criminal investigations bureau. They were doing saturations and further investigation with April.
And I'm going to get into that in just a second. And one thing you saw with your first, the easy thing that you saw was you went through and in 2 hours you saw 26 open garage doors in the first, during the day.
Yes, sir. That was one of the saturation patrols. We had our patrol officers out there, a bike team out there, and they were able to document those 26 in a 2-hour period.
So it was a serious situation. You had a lot of burglaries occurring. I don't know if you were having car thefts too, but you were having the burglaries.
They were primarily residential burglaries.
And so you put out some bait cars, you put out some bait bikes, you put out some bait laptops, I assume that were inside unlocked cars or something. But at some point you guys went to April, and then April kind of really caught my fancy reading about this is you did some analysis, which is, you do reports, you do statistics, but you also do crime analysis.
Yes.
And so you did some analysis that kind of, well, you share, but these people were apprehended because you kind of figured, here's where we think they're going to hit next and how they're going to do that.
Absolutely. You summed it up perfectly. The burglary series, we had been monitoring what had been going on, and we are able to extract all the data, well, a majority of the data from our police reports. So we were collecting dates, times, locations, what was taken, their point of entry into residence, method of entry into residence. And we took all of that data and we synthesized it. Basically, we were able to provide two different tactical, I'm struggling for
Models?
the word. Models, thank you. Two different tactical models for two different time frames so that our officers could actually deploy resources to catch these guys. And so what we did was we provided specific dates of time, or dates, times, and locations actually down to the quarter-mile grid of where they needed to be. And
Just based on the past
based
burglaries
on
and
past incidents, their MOs, their method of entries, their point of entries. It's incredible what we're able to do with that data. And the first day that our recommendation was to be out on a certain day and that time frame, and our detectives were out there set up, and it was
unbelievable.
poetry in motion. 32 minutes out there and they caught these guys.
So this was the predictive analysis.
Predictive
coming to
analysis,
fruition.
absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
So how long after you guys first started working that area, because you were notified about all these incidents, to when you actually apprehended these three suspects? I think it turned out to be three suspects.
We started, I think we were, our first report was reported in April
16th.
And then we arrested the suspects July 1st.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Really amazing. I watch once in a while Forensic Files, and you've set me straight already before the show started. This isn't forensics, but it reminds me of, police and police work using technology.
Absolutely.
And you use technology
Absolutely.
just like those folks in
Absolutely,
forensic.
yeah. Forensics is more processing of the scene, collecting evidence and processing crime scenes, and we're more behind the scenes, the data, analyzing the data and trying to find trends and patterns, and we can do some incredible things. It's a lot of fun.
So you use the latest in technology.
We do.
Anything in specific to
We
that?
use really, they're pretty basic software programs. We use Excel a lot. We use Word. We do use ArcGIS to create our maps. It will give you a picture basically of an area. We can do it in an aerial view or make it look like a picture. It gives them spatial reference and putting those incidents on a map and directing them on where to go.
Well, we'll close the loop on that particular episode,
Okay.
but those were three surprised suspects probably when I assume
I
an
would
unmarked
like to
police
think so.
car came
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
said, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. It was exciting. I got the phone call and the detective sergeant, and I was literally jumping up and down on the phone, and people were running. It was really, really exciting to watch it just work together. The collaborative effort of everything just coming together and working together. Yeah.
Good police work.
Yeah.
So Tina, back to you. We'll move on and talk about a couple other things. I want you to talk a little bit about the See Something, Say Something campaign. It sounds pretty self-explanatory, but
It is. It actually started out as a federal initiative for terrorist activity. And what we have done is we've adopted that and brought it to our local. And so what it comes down to is suspicious activity. If you see something that just doesn't seem right, there's a strong chance it's not. I kind of call it my spidey sense. And if it's not feeling good to you, then we want you to call us, and you can call us if somebody is actively being assaulted or hurt. If there's a collision or if property is actively being damaged, then we want you to call 911. Other than that, you can call our non-emergency number, or you can even text our non-emergency number to make us aware of that. Some people aren't comfortable with that, verbal communication.
right.
So they're welcome to text something in if they find it to be suspicious. And that does a couple things. One, if there is something bad going on, it allows the police to respond and hopefully apprehend the individual that are doing the bad things. The other part of this is that it allows somebody that may be suspicious or thinking about doing bad things, that the neighborhood is watching and that they're calling the police when they have the opportunity. So it shows them our response. And third, if it's an individual that was maybe just doing a normal thing that just seemed out of place, it allows us to make a positive contact with another community member and be able to share that with them, and that the neighborhood is actually doing good things. And so the way we look at it, it's a win the whole way around.
And we'll get that non-emergency number up on the screen too for folks to call, because that's a good number for them to have just for various things. You do a lot of outreach, you said there, and you encourage people to call in or text or what have you. Talk to us a little bit about your utilization of social media, because I know the police department's big on social media.
We're very big on social media. Facebook, I think, is probably our primary avenue. Every Tuesday we do Crime Prevention Tip Tuesday. So that's something to always look forward to. But we also announce all of our community events that that we may be in partnership with or sponsoring or conducting. We have a lot of those going on. In addition, it also allows everybody to know what is it that their police officers are doing. So we like to show them how we're out in our neighborhoods and how we're involved in our community. We want them to do the same thing. We want them to come out and meet us and be a part of that community effort. So Facebook is probably our first.
What's the tag there for the Facebook? Do you know offhand?
I believe that's Twitter, and I'm not a Twitter user, so I'm probably the worst person. I know the chief holds that account, and so he loves doing selfies and having people tweet them. But another social media that we use is YouTube. We do a lot of our public service announcements on there. So it might be some safety-related type things, or it might be a community event coverage. So we have subscriptions or channels on all of those. And then we also have our website, chandlerpd.com.
Chandlerpd.com, that probably has links pretty much to anywhere you want to go. There's a new event happening this fall. It's the Safety and Veterans Expo, or SAVE. Can you share a little with our audience about that?
In relationship with your office and the rest of the city departments, we're all coming together to provide safety forum for all of our community members. In addition, we kind of beefed it up and added the veterans piece to it, and we're having the Veterans Administration come out. So we're going to have, do-it-yourself kind of things there. We're going to have vendors come out specific for veterans, for safety. We're going to have police vehicles on display, fire department vehicles on display, and we're actually going to have some food trucks out there as well. And we've also requested that the Arizona National Guard respond with a rock wall and a nice helicopter flyover and static display.
Where will that be at again?
That'll be at the Chandler Municipal Airport, and that's on November 5th between the hours of 10 and 2.
Great. I think we'll get some good turnout, and the
I hope
rock
so.
wall could be interesting.
We look forward to that.
Yep, great. Got a couple minutes here left. We've talked about setting up a block watch. Maybe for you, April, for those people maybe interested in getting into a law enforcement career, but maybe more on the civilian side, such as you, any advice for people like that?
Getting your foot in the door definitely helps. Depending on where you want to work, I mean, dispatch, it's a great area to work. Records, where I started, my heart is still in records. The crime analysis field specifically, education and, you know, going to school and getting your
Right.
training and
volunteering too. Like if you
volunteering.
can't maybe
We
get in there.
absolutely, we have a large number of volunteers and they help out. They've helped out in our unit, helping with data entry, getting familiar with the environment of a police department. It's it, it's a fun environment, and I don't think people realize how much fun it is and how different it may be. But volunteering is a great way to at least get exposed to law enforcement. But
And then maybe that gets your foot in the door if you want to
absolutely,
hire on
absolutely,
later.
we've had interns that volunteer as well. I think we've even had volunteers who've gone on to become police officers as well,
have.
and record specialists and even dispatchers. Absolutely.
Okay. Any advice you have for anybody wanting to come in on the sworn side?
On the sworn side, education is key, but behavior, having a focus, living within that structure, and people are pleasantly surprised. And I can speak for other agencies because I belong, but Chandler specifically is a family,
Absolutely.
and I think we are as a city as well, and that is very, very important to us. And so once you're inside that, we just embrace it, and everybody is willing to help everyone.
Yeah.
It's something that we share. It's nobody has blinders on. This is mine and only mine.
Yeah.
And so if anybody were interested, sir, I would have them come to us in a volunteer program and even interview a couple police officers. We're always available for that. I've done that several times myself.
Ride-alongs too. I mean, we have the ride-along citizen observer program, and they can do a ride-along. They can even ride along with dispatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good suggestions. I want to thank both of you for those suggestions, but I want to thank both of you for not only being with us today, but also for the work you're doing to make Chandler safer and make our citizens safer. So thank both of you for your work.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
I'm Mayor Jay Tibshirney. You've been watching Chandler Inside and Out. Hope you enjoyed the program. Until we see you again, take care and be safe.